Go. Okay.
Yay! Hey, everybody. It's your desperately sad friend, Samantha.
A clump of hair stuck to the wall of your shower, Mason.
And you know it's good when you hear Right Company.
Oh, I almost forgot to do that. I was about to take a sip.
I can't help it. The flourish makes it feel more official. It feels fancy.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that show on BuzzFeed with the one cook, and she goes, "Make it fancy." I always feel like the finger is needed. Anyway, guys, today we're going to be talking about the best boys love of 2020. I'm sorry, I said it. You can disagree with me if you want to. The best boys love of 2020, possibly the best boys love to ever come out of Thailand. I told Sunset about you.
It's really good. This will be a gush.
Yeah, this is totally a gush. This is not a show that I saw coming, but after the very first episode, I knew this was going to be something different. And as I've watched each successive episode, it pretty much cemented itself in the firmament of the boys love heavens.
Yeah. It really did get like just better and better as it went along.
Yeah. So with that being said, Mason, I don't even know where to begin to do a synopsis of this show.
I can try one. It's basically about these two best friends who they were best friends in middle school, and then they had a falling out, and then they kind of rekindled their friendship in their last year of high school, and they're both trying to get into the same university. It's really good. It is unrealistic in the fact that I ain't never seen two pretty best friends. It's always one of them gotta be ugly, so.
Okay, Meme King.
Sorry. The whole time I was watching it, that TikTok was playing in my mind.
Okay, I just want to start by saying I don't know much about Nadal Bangkok. Nadal Bangkok is the channel/production company that did this show. But from what I've watched from them before, I watched Great Men Academy by Nadal, and I was super disappointed with Great Men Academy. And Nadal also did another show with these same two leads called My Ambulance. They were not the leads of that show, but they were the one kind of boys love couple. And spoiler alert, one of them dies at the end of the show. So when I first heard about this show, I was terrified because there had been Great Men Academy ended on an ambiguous, weird note. In My Ambulance, one of them died. And then looking at the color scheme and kind of the tone of the trailer, I thought this was another one of the ones where somebody was going to die. And I was ready for it. And up until the end of episode 3, I already had a theory about how one of them was going to die. I really thought that Ted was going to die in a plane crash on the way to his college exam, and that was how O was going to get into school, and that would be it. Thank God I was wrong.
I thought what was going to happen, I thought Tay was going to kill himself.
I can see that too.
At the end of episode 4, I was like, yeah, he's going to die.
I think what helped me with this is watching episode 4 and seeing Tay safely get on the plane back home made me feel like, okay, there's a chance here for a happy ending. Or if not a happy ending, an ending that doesn't end in death, perhaps. But man, episode 5, I don't know how they did it, but they ended the show with not only a happy ending, but an ending that felt real. Even if it wasn't particularly as satisfying as I would have liked it to be, it felt like a real ending. Like, it didn't feel like a fairy tale ending at all. And this is a story that in a lot of parts almost felt like a fairy tale because it was so extremely romantic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, kudos to the director, You put your foot in this one. You did your thing. This was gorgeous. I highly appreciate this watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of those shows where it's like, after every episode, I was like, I need to call Sam and talk to her about what I just saw. But we couldn't because we have to record this. We couldn't talk it out. But after every episode, I was like, ooh, put down the phone.
And Mason tried to trick me.
Yeah.
After he watched the show, he's like, oh my gosh. And I'm just like, oh, you loved it? He's like, actually, I hated it. And I'm like, that's okay too.
Reaction. I was like, it might be funny.
But that's okay.
Now and then, like, Sam, we met over K-pop, and every now and then, like, I'll say, like, a K-pop opinion, and Sam would be like, why did you choose violence today? Funny. Like, I think EXO's Lotto is a really fun song. And Sam makes that face. That one and Miss Say's Only You are, like, bops. And Sam hates both of those songs, respectively. So...
Okay, I thought we were just going to only enjoy happiness today. I didn't realize. But yes, sometimes bad takes. But it didn't matter to me. Like, this was honestly a show. If somebody had told me that they hated this show, I absolutely would feel how they feel, because there were moments in this show where the tension was unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think I've ever seen a couple in a boys' love show where the tension felt like I was strangling while watching them.
Yeah, it's really palpable, which is amazing. Yeah. Like, it's one of those shows where after it was done, I was like, I need to lie down and stare at the ceiling for a few hours. It needs to marinate, you know? Like, they were having a really good barbecue, and they were like, we're going to marinate our chicken overnight. We're going to marinate this tension overnight. And you're like, God fucking damn it. Like, man, I'm really glad I didn't watch this in real time, solely for the fact that if I had watched episode 4 and it ended the way that it ended, and I had to wait a week to see what was going to happen, I would have gone crazy.
Yeah.
And Tay,
go ahead.
Man, he went to the Viola Davis School of Snot Acting. Him and Sarah Paulson and Viola Davis, they love the snot. They love the snot when they cry.
Okay, so can I just say, and this is probably going to be the most controversial thing I say during this entire vlog, I hate the way that Thinkin cries. The way he cries, it sounds like a horse crying, and it feels very fake, and it's just very hard to watch to me. I'm certain that he's feeling real emotions, but I have a hard time sitting through it, because he cries in a way that just is not, maybe it's because he's really crying, maybe that's what it is. It is just not pleasing to the eye or the ear to me.
It did seem like he was really crying. So.
Yeah. And it's just like, and I couldn't. It totally pulled me out. But I get the fact that, you know what, if you're really crying, real crying is not always attractive. It's not always like the slow crumbling of the face. Sometimes it is just like agony. And watching him cry literally was agony.
Mm-hmm. Man, he cried a lot the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, he did. Episode 4, like the very last scenes of episode 4, it was like, can I turn this off now, please?
Yes, because halfway through episode 4, you're like, beautiful, amazing, perfect. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized. And then Tay's like, I don't want to date you. And you're like, like, it's over. It's over.
Like, turn us down. I feel like that one meme of that girl who's pacing and she claps her hands while she's pacing. Like, that's what it felt like when that rejection came through. Okay, so let's start with episode 1. Episode 1, Oewa. Okay, so his name is Oewa, but I'm just going to call him O because I can't with all the verbs. Oewa. whatever, fuck it. I don't care. I can't.
No, I'm with
Oh,
you.
yeah. So O and Te are friends. They're middle school friends. And Te becomes obsessed with this one character out of a Chinese folktale. And he's like, when I grow up, I'm going to play this character on TV because he is like the ideal male protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
And they are in school, and Te has been practicing his lines with O and practicing becoming this character. And he and O have a conversation about, what do you want to do when you grow up? And O's like, I really don't have anything I want to do when I grow up. I just kind of like one thing this week, like one thing the next week. So they're in class, and the teacher's like, we're going to do this play. And of course, Te is super excited because he's like, finally, my dream. This is my moment. I am Kelly Clarkson. Call my name. And they're like, we're going to give it to the kid who has no dream. And of course, Te is like, great. I'm happy for you, friends. And he helps him practice and really carries him through his performance to the point that he's on the side of the stage mouthing words to him so that he can get it right. And there's this really beautiful scene where O is performing, but like Te is doing the moments on the other side of the curtain.
Yes.
It is this whole show is filmed like a fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. And so after the performance, O is like, this is it. This is my dream. I've never felt anything like this. I want to do this forever. And immediately Te is like, the fuck do you mean this is your dream? And they have an argument. And the argument is a real argument. Like sometimes the plot device for some of these shows is really stupid, like a really stupid misunderstanding or a really stupid sequence of events that otherwise you would be friends if this one thing didn't happen. But like I felt very much like O in being like, why are you upset that I have finally found a passion? But then I very much felt Te being like, you acted like you didn't care about anything. And then all of a sudden, not only do you get my dream role, but now you want to take my dream?
Mm-hmm.
And at that young age, the concept of sharing a dream doesn't seem to come into play. It's about total ownership. And so them falling apart the way they did, I'm like, okay, we're off to the races. Because this felt very much the way that kids at that age would feel. Where there's not a lot of logic in these arguments or these discussions. It really runs a lot on emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, all right, let's go. So then when they meet back up as high school seniors and they're getting ready to take their entrance exam, so both of them are taking a Chinese language course in order to be able to do well on their entrance exam, because apparently that's like a standardized thing in Thailand. Already, when Te walks in the room, O seems like he wanted nothing to do with Te. He's still salty about everything that happened before. Fuck you, I'm done with it. Te feels very much like he's like, I may have jumped the gun a little bit. I'm a bit more mature than I was back then. I kind of want to be in your sphere, but I also have a lot of pride about myself, and I'm not really willing to tell you that I want to be friends again. Mm-hmm. So watching them kind of reestablish their friendship was super exciting.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I think that a lot of people who have gotten into their 20s have gone through before, where you've been estranged from somebody and you wanted to get back with them, and like the circumstances that get you back together, they're stupid circumstances, but the relief you feel when you're able to reestablish something that you once held so close, it's like, oh, so this is what it feels like to breathe. And it was really very cool to see that played out, and not in a corny way. Like, they didn't automatically become best friends, and O had to tell him, like, you hurt me, and, you know, I'm not going to be best friends with you again, but I am going to be friends with you again.
Right.
And it's just like, yay! I'm cool with this too. And then it starts to take a turn into romance. And that's where I'll let Mason start talking about it, because, like, I felt like my head was swimming when it became romance. Like, I'm like, no, wait, no. Not that I didn't want them to be together, but I'm just like, this doesn't feel like this is going to end well.
It was a nice slow build, but it did seem like, I think the problem was like you could feel like they were in two separate like stages of their sexuality. Like, oh, you got the vibe immediately. He knows what's up with himself. Maybe he's not out to his parents, but I definitely could tell like when he was introduced again, it's like, okay, my guess is how this is gonna go is Tay has never really thought about another man this way, or at least has repressed it, whereas O already like knows that he's gay. He even was wearing purple or like rainbow on his jacket, like the cuffs and the collar part had like a rainbow pattern, and I was like, gay. And I thought what was nice about that is one of the ways that they become like best friends again is the first person that O ever comes out to in the friend group is Tay. He says, oh, I have a crush on Bass, who is another, remember the friend group who was also, and, oh my God, and save me, Sam.
So Tay is like, oh, you have a crush on Bass? I have a crush on Tarn, who's a girl in my class. Maybe we can give each other advice on how to make our objects of our desire our actual real life partners. And so they begin to have this kind of love scheme, if you will, where they're like, you can tell if they like you if they let you press your knee against them. You can tell if they like you if they make plans with you because they're jealous you're making plans with other people. And that is when it started to itch for me, because you could tell that Tay was like not satisfied with simply reestablishing their friendship. He wanted to be O's best friend again. Anytime O did anything with anybody else or made it seem like he wanted to hang out with other people before he hung out with Tay would be like super petty.
Yeah. Which is unlikable, but like I've been there, so I understand the feeling, you know? Of where like, I like this person, mind, body, and soul, and I would like to spend as much time with them as possible, and someone else is taking that time away from me right now, you know? And I think they portrayed that very well.
And it's also like, that's why it started to itch, because it's like, you don't even know that you feel this way because you want this boy. Like and that's why it was like so hard to watch, because it's like, you don't even see it, do you, child?
Yeah. And then you see, like I would say episodes 1 and 2 are mainly focused on Tay, and it feels a bit more from his perspective. Whereas then episode 3 kind of takes a turn. It feels a little bit more from O's perspective, and then he kind of starts to touch his knee against Tay's, and Tay doesn't pull away. And kind of doing the things that Tay had suggested he do to see if Bass would like him. And we have to talk about the nighttime beach scene, because it was so beautiful and so perfect.
I have never thought of flowers as being erotic before, but the hyacinth, girl, do your thing.
Yeah, like it was like 4 a.m. and the other people had gotten up to study, and like they had met in the living room of they were like staying at O's family's resort, and they were like in this big like resort room, and they were there to partly to study for their entrance exams. And so Tay and O always got up at 4 to study, basically so Tay could tutor O, because Tay was like really good at Chinese already. And Tay sucks at it. But then they're like about to sit closer and closer together when
everybody starts waking up.
Everyone comes out, and you're like, fuck. So then they're like, I'm gonna go to the beach. And the other one's like, I'm gonna go to the beach. And they go to the beach, they like run around the beach, they pick up these red flowers, they put them in each other's mouths and then put them behind each other's ear, and you're like, And then they're like collapsed on the hammock, and they're just kind of shooting the shit. And then it gets into, have you pursued Bass? And I was like, kinda, but I don't know anymore. And Tay's like, oh, do you like someone else? And then O kind of sits up and is like, like, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
you know what's up. You know what we're doing. And Tay's kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And they kind of leave it there. And then they go home, and they're at Tay's house, and they're sitting together on the couch watching TV. And they like inch closer, and they both just start being like, "Oh, we ran a lot today. Your legs must be sore." And they start like massaging each other's legs, and they're
Like,
really rubbing up on each other like a lot. And you're like, "Ooh, damn, this is tension." But then Tay chickens out and like leaves.
yeah.
But, wow.
I sent you the clip of them with the chest massage, and it literally probably is the most erotic scene I've ever seen in a boys' love. And I've watched people go down on folks in boys' love. I've watched people kiss nipples in boys' love. There was something about that scene that I felt like I should not be here.
I think it was because like it didn't feel like, "Ooh, yeah, let me suck on your dick." It was like, this person, mind, body, and spirit. I just want to feel this person in their existence, you know?
Yeah, it felt like he was trying to like literally like, I don't know, like pull him apart and become him. Like if I could sink into you, I'm trying to sink into you.
Yeah.
It is
Super sensual. And then when O leans back for a kiss and Tay just goes, "Oh, Tay."
Damn it, Tay!
Come on, man. Oh, man.
And O has been giving him the signs. Like one of my favorite scenes in the show, and I didn't even realize it was a sponsorship until way down the road. Tay is eating a bag of Lay's potato chips while they're on their boys' trip, and O crawls over to him to
And
get a yes, like he was giving it to you. He was giving you the high sign.
And he like then laid on his knees, you know.
Uh-huh.
I don't just lay my head on my guy friend's knees, you know.
Especially not after Cat crawling over to them and be like, "Put it in my mouth, Daddy."
Yeah.
Like come on. So of course, you know, after kind of like getting rejected from a kiss, even though this person has literally bruised up your chest, it's a little awkward. It's a little like, okay, I'm gonna step away because you're not ready, and if you're not ready, I'm not gonna push you, but I am definitely going to head over here.
Mm-hmm.
And Tay, I want to love you. I want to love you because I don't think I've ever seen a character that's he's so mean without any sense of malice.
He really thinks that he is doing he really thinks he's doing what is best for the other person, but it just isn't working out for him or the other person. And it's like, he just has some maturing to do, you know?
Yes, like, you know, people when they write naive characters, they always write them as ditzes or dummies. Tay is the definition of a naive character. Everything that he does, it all runs off of like lack of insight, lack of maturity, lack of awareness. Like he is, one of the things that this show is so interesting to me about is how somebody builds that awareness. Like there have been shows I've watched where someone has been scared of coming out, but the fears that they had and the way they came to understanding this is my truth, I don't think were ever clearly defined, or like it seems like most of that took place off camera. I really felt like I went through Tay's entire journey of self-discovery presently in the show.
It was almost uncomfortable. Especially as
It was.
I was like, this is bringing some shit up I didn't want to revisit today.
It was completely uncomfortable. That scene where they're chasing each other on the beach, but they're not chasing each other, where O's like walking backwards and Tay's following him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, he's drawing you out. He's trying to get you to
Yeah.
come out. Come with me. And Tay wants to follow, but he just can't quite make it those couple of inches to the finish line. And I feel like for anybody who's never understood what that struggle is, when like it's right there, but you just can't take that last couple of steps, this show just lays it out there in the clearest way. And I've never felt that way about a show before. Never.
They'll just have moments where it's like they're almost gonna kiss, but one of them will just kind of change their mind last minute, but they'll still be within really close proximity until they are underwater and no one is around. And that's when they make out for the first time, you know?
Yeah, and that scene was so interesting because they had like a drone shot of the water where they were at, and you couldn't see them at all. Like the drone shot, they were invisible. And I remember feeling like this almost feels like this didn't happen. Like you can't see it from looking at the water. You can't see it from over the water. You can only experience it if you're under the water with them in this other world. And when they come out of the water and they're like kind of neck hugging each other, I don't even know, like they're embracing each other in a really weird kind of loose way. And then I was like, okay. And Tay's just not there.
Yeah, can't do it.
Yeah, and it almost felt like it was foreshadowing, like this not being able to see it from anywhere other than that moment is like, I have to keep this here. I can't bring this above ground. I can't bring this to a place where anyone else could see us. And for it's like, first of all, what a fucking brave young man you are that you know yourself enough to know I'm not going to play this ambiguous game with you. You know, like he totally could. He could be like, okay, well, we'll fuck around and we'll do things when no one's looking and that'll just be it. But he's not that way. And it's so in contrast with who he was as a middle schooler. As a middle schooler, he's like, I flip from thing to thing. I don't really have a dream or a focus. But by the time they meet each other again, he's like, I am this. And I'm not going to stop being myself. And I'm not going to hide myself because you are uncomfortable or you don't want to acknowledge what this is that we have between us.
Right. Yeah. I really appreciated him saying, well, if you don't want to date me, then I just don't even want to be your friend because it's too much for me. Like, mad respect.
Because he knows they can't be friends. Like, he knew in that moment, like, no matter what we say, the fact of the matter is I'm going to want you. I'm never going to be in a room with you and not feel that pull for you. I'm never going to be able to like casually joke with you and put my hand on your shoulder and not want to put my arms around you. It's always going to leave me wanting more, and I don't deserve to be tortured like that.
Right. Isn't there like a Demi Lovato song about that where she's like, let's ruin the friendship?
I don't know. You know, Demi Lovato.
Sorry.
No, it's not you. It's not you. In fact, I was watching this show the whole time, and I was thinking about pop songs left and right. Like, really, honestly. Well, like the scene where is wearing the bra and he takes the picture. Obviously, I'm thinking of Heather by Conan Gray.
I don't know who that is.
Okay. I'm an old person, so I can't even put it in context. But basically, the song is like the perspective of somebody who is jealous of the person that their significant other actually seems to outwardly care for. And the song, like the chorus is like, I wish I were Heather. And the reason I thought about that with the bra sequence is because, and we haven't talked about it yet.
We'll get there.
Or we talked about it slightly. Tay initially had a crush on a girl named Tarn. And theirs was a really kind of sweet, young feeling for each other, but not really declaring themselves boyfriend and girlfriend. And he had shared this with O early on when they were telling each other about their crush. And I think that the whole bra try-on scene was not him trying to like declare anything for anybody else. It's weird the way they use Instagram in this. They use Instagram in this show as if they're the only two people who can see Instagram, but everyone can see it. And so all their friends are like, the fuck is going on, dude?
Mm-hmm.
But he posts this picture of himself wearing this bra on Instagram. And he posts it like real quickly and then immediately deletes it. Like, what the fuck am I thinking? Everyone can see this. But I don't think he tried on the bra because he's having any questions about his gender or anything like that. I think he's more like, if I was a woman, if I was me, but I was a woman, would you want me? Would you publicly acknowledge me? Would it always be this way? Like, is there something wrong with me and who I am?
That scene was hard to watch.
It was impossible to watch.
Him crumpled up on the floor, sobbing. You're like, someone help this poor baby. Someone give him a hug.
Also, quiet as it's kept, that bra fit amazingly on him. That was
bra.
It was gorgeous.
I really love the color theming that they did. Like, they really just picked some colors. I don't think they picked anything like revolutionary with like the way that they use color, but it was just really nice that they had like thematic colors throughout, like the use of that exact crimson red. They also had certain shades of blue that they'd use. Literally, if someone was sad, they'd be in a blue shirt. Literally, every time a character was sad, they were in a blue shirt. Like,
yeah.
They were just nice little, like, it was just, everything about it was designed nicely.
Yeah, there was a Twitter thread that I saw where somebody was talking about how, like, red was the color for O, and kind of that bluish green turquoisey color was the color for Te.
Mm-hmm.
And at different points in the relationship, when they're more receptive to each other or when they're thinking about each other a little bit more, they wear each other's color.
Right.
So, like, right before the kiss, you can see O surrounded by Te's color and even wearing his color. And the shirt he wears is like Things I'll Never Say.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's
things. One of them had a shirt that said sunrise on it, or like sunset.
That is merch.
Was it really merch?
Yes. The sunset t-shirt is merch. The heart attack bag that he always carries is merch. The way they did the merch in this show, the incorporation of the endorsements and stuff, was the smoothest I have ever seen.
The only one I even picked up on was the Lay's one. And it was the second Lay's sponsorship, not the first one with him crawling over. The only one I clocked as a sponsorship was when he brought in a box of Lay's.
Right.
I was like, oh, sponsorship. That was the only time I ever thought about that in the entire show. So
yeah.
Good. One thing I want to talk about, this is kind of cycling back to when we were talking about Te discovering himself a bit. One scene that I thought was super interesting, kind of weird, is the scene where he is laying in bed and he sees the photo of this guy that he's idolized. And he starts pulling the page a little bit. And first of all, which would have been fine, but his brother was sleeping like a few feet away in another bed and the light was on. And you're like, first of all, turn off the light, if anything. Second of all, your brother's right there. But it was to me, that scene came across as he starts pulling the pad. She realizes, oh shit, I am getting hard. I might actually be gay. And he starts to cry. That was hard to watch too.
And it's almost like unintentionally, but as a result of the photograph in the bra, it's almost like it gave Ted permission to imagine as a woman. And I think as he started to get hard, he started to realize, I'm not aroused because I'm seeing him in a bra and I'm imagining him as a woman. I'm aroused because the idea of seeing him naked is what's doing it for me. Because a lot of people don't realize it, but underwear is coded. Like, men oftentimes are shirtless, and there's nothing nude about the idea of a man shirtless. But the idea of seeing a woman in just her bra hints at nudity, hints at sexuality. And so seeing Te shirtless on the beach or anywhere else might not have really been like, oh yeah, this is arousing. But the idea of him wearing something that is coded in sexuality, like a bra, kind of opens that door to like, this is the pattern of thought we're going with here. And I thought that was super clever, whether that was their intention or not. I thought that was really super clever because it's like I'm introducing the idea of me past just you wanting to kiss me and you wanting to be close to me. You want me.
Mm-hmm.
And you want me in every way that that means.
Mm-hmm.
And I just adore it. And there have been a lot of scenes where his sensual feelings about O came out in very bizarre manifestations. Like there's one scene where he's like smelling this young coconut and he starts to like rub his face in this coconut because it reminds him of the smell of O. And it's like, sir, don't eat the booty just yet.
Yeah. Sense. Oh.
And then like his brother's like, I'm going to work. And I was like, oh yeah, sorry. Because he was like, his mind was there. Another one where he's like picking up the papers that were like the study papers. And like he's rubbing his face in them and his nose is shiny with like pencil lead.
Yeah.
It's just like, Tay has so much feelings. And I think that's why you can't ever get completely mad at Tay because his intentions are always good, but he's just so fucking conflicted.
Right.
So then comes along the scenario that as a parent, I wanted to fight Tay.
Yeah, that pissed me off too.
Yeah.
So essentially, a couple of episode like 2 or so, maybe even episode 1, Tay had gotten into the university of his choice in the major he wanted early. He got like early acceptance or whatever, whereas O didn't. And O was going to have to take the placement exam and be put on the wait list. So O is put number 1 on the wait list. And then it comes the time for, so even one person drops, he's in. So comes time for Tay to go like sign some paperwork, like in person to like confirm that he's going to be a student there, which is very weird. And a little classist, honestly, to be like, you must fly in person to sign this paper. It's like, okay, what if you can't afford the air? Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Tay goes and there's one seat that's empty. He's like, oh my God, someone didn't show up. O can get in. Until that bitch walks in the room. And Tay, with the best of intentions, but also just not thinking, he gives up his spot so O can have it because he does not believe that O could pass the test.
For good reason, because
for good reason.
For all the studying they're doing and all of the like beautiful study guides that Tay has made for O, like Tay ought to think of a second career as a tutor / like instructor because he made all these flashcards and gave him all these books and he even made like this really beautiful scrapbook with like scenarios and then he puts the words so that you'll know what it means. Like he did it. But he saw that even with all the practice, O was getting like 16 out of 30, 11 out of 30, like just really not getting it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, for good reason, he suspected that without this boost, he wasn't going to get into this school. But like, this is your future. And, not to sound like an old person being like the kids, they just don't understand. But kind of like, yeah, this is not about this moment and these feelings you're feeling in this moment. This is about the rest of your life and about the things that you want. And I hate to say it, but, love comes and goes. But, pursuing your dreams, this may be like the biggest avenue to the rest of the other things that fulfill you besides being this person's significant other. And like when his mom was mad, I'm like, that's right. I'm fucking upset.
Yeah. She had a direct at him.
Because it also seemed like that spot came with a scholarship. And the reason I say that is because after he reveals to his family that he gave up the spot so that O could get into the school, he goes upstairs and he finds a bank book that his brother left for him. And he's like, use this for like snacks, books, stuff like that. But then later on, after he takes the entrance exam, or he's getting ready to take the entrance exam again. He passes the bank book back to his brother, and his brother's like, use it for the tuition fees. So it seems to me like he not only gave up early admittance to this university, but he gave up a scholarship to this university.
Right.
Which, again, as a parent, the fuck are you thinking? You gave up all this for some little boy? No.
Yeah.
Let me go. I was like his mom, can I call those people at the college and let them know you wasn't feeling good?
He wasn't thinking right.
No, he takes medication, and he, we couldn't get to the pharmacy in time. I'm so sorry. He gets air sickness. He would not have done this under normal circumstances.
Yeah. But I really liked that he ended up not getting into the university at the end. Because honestly, you deserve it. You dropped out. You had everything. You had it handed to you. You were ready to go, and you gave it up, and you got to pay the consequence. The school's not going to readmit you.
Which is a great parallel to the way he treated O and the way he continued to like flub up his opportunities to be O's boyfriend. Once you fuck things up enough, there are no second chances. He goes to his school to ask his principal if he can like take the exam again, and the principal's like, you're a good student, but you really fucked off these last several months. And so, good luck to you in what you're doing, but you can't come back and act like you didn't like flake out on us forever. Same thing with like his friend Tarn. She's like, you asked me to tell you that I loved you, but then like you kind of left me hanging here. And so when it's time to take the admissions test for him to get into college, I'm glad that him and his mother made up before that happened. Like his mom made him the hoikin mee, which I've never heard of this food, but I am desperate to eat it now.
It was so good.
It did. I'm just like, I don't even know what this is, but I got to have it. He goes to the school, and it seems like he's on his way to, acting with some sense. Finally, like putting his eyes back on the prize. We're headed to school. We're doing this. He runs into O in the hallway before the entrance exam. And he starts bawling. Like he just starts bawling, crying so hard he can't even see the test, has to go to the bathroom and fucking hiccup it out and then come back. I guess Thailand, like America, has timed entrance exams. So when he goes back to the room to go back to taking the test, he runs out of time on the last 5 or 6 questions and doesn't finish the test. Like he bubbles them in, but he doesn't actually finish the test. And of course, that means that he doesn't get the grade required to get into his first choice school. And I mean, yeah, it sucks that he didn't get into his first choice school, but I think it's one of those things that you learn it early on and you continue to learn that lesson. You've got to take your chances when they're presented to you. You can't keep thinking that you're going to get another shot at this.
Right. One thing that I do wish they had explained a little bit, even the mom brings it up, is why that school was so important. Why was that number 1?
I think the reason why that school was important towards the end of the series is just because he wanted to go to school with O. He wanted to stay close to him.
I agree, but I do think we need an explanation as to why everyone wants to go to that school.
Well, I don't guess everyone wants. I think those are the only 2 people who want to go.
Right, but if half the story is focusing on them getting into the school, why is this school so important? Like, is it the best in the country? Like, I just feel like they could have had a throw in line, like, oh, it's the best in the country, and I want to be at the best with the best opportunities,
Yeah.
It's a very small nitpick, but I feel like if we're spending so much time on getting into this specific school, and he was so upset that he couldn't get in, that he ended up when he ended up not getting in the second time, it's like, okay, we should have some explanation.
I think I was okay with that. I mean, if they had said something in the very beginning of like, I aced my audition, this is the school of my dreams, then, kind of like somebody saying, I want to get into Harvard or Yale. When people watch movies from America and people say they want to get into Harvard or Yale, they don't really explain why. And so it may be one of those things that if you live in Thailand, the name of that school speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I get it. And it wouldn't
Right.
be something they would have to explain. So I was okay with that. But I really did think at the end that was just, I want to get close to him. This was my shot at getting close to him, and I missed it. Because Bass is who he's dating now. Okay, let's pour out a little for our friend Bass.
Wait, should we say Bass? Because I want to finish Tay and O before we get on to the side characters.
Okay, so Tay and O, Tay doesn't get into the school of his choice. O gets into the school of his choice, which I had a question about that. I mean, he got early admission, but maybe he just had to take the exam to confirm that he's still qualified to go to that school. Is that what that was?
I thought he turned it down because he was like, oh, I got this, you know, I was just handed something that I didn't deserve because O felt bad for me. Or because
I need to beat both of these children.
Yeah, I thought he turned it down then. I don't know, but I could be wrong because I don't know how the Thai school system works.
Me neither.
If anyone knows, tell us.
Yes, please do, because I'm like, he's taking the entrance exam again. I wonder if maybe he's just taking it because, like, even though he was next on the waiting list for admission, he still had to take the exam to have his scores registered to make sure he met, like, the minimum academic requirements for that university. Because, I mean, that could be a thing. I don't really know, because I went to a state school and the requirements were, do you read and write in English? That was it. So I was able to get in fairly easy. But I feel like it was just, that was the part where I'm like, I don't feel as much tension for O. Like, when his parents were waiting for the exam results, I didn't understand why they were so anxious, because he had already gotten in. Like, he told his parents he got in. And I didn't see a scene where he told his parents, I rejected my admission.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, why are y'all so excited? Unless this was like the second part of being able to get into this school.
Yeah, I don't know. That scene was also weird because he was like sitting on like the beach like a child, and I thought that was weird. That was a little like, okay, this is weird. Like,
yeah,
why is he acting like a 5-year-old right now? Okay.
I don't know, but he has some really interesting moments with his parents. Like, the first scene with him and his parents kind of indicate, like, if you don't get into this school, what are you going to do? Because we have a whole resort you could manage if you aren't going to get into this acting thing. But then, like, he has a moment where he needs his parents to reassure him that he's okay. And any kind of, like, disappointment or expectation you think his parents had on him based on him wanting to choose a career in acting completely gets washed away. Like, they may have wanted him to run the resort, but they also deeply love their child. And they're like, nothing you could do would make us disappointed in you. We are always proud of you. We always care for you, and we'll always be here for you. And I thought that was really, really cool. And that's why I was really excited, even though it seemed nonsensical. It was really exciting to see the moment that his parents read his admission results, because it was like, it showed them wholeheartedly supporting his dream. Like, initially they were like, you could always run the resort. But then when he got into the school of his dreams and he did it, they immediately, like, dropped the iPad and run to the water with him. You know, and I'm like, this, my heart.
That was very sweet. I did panic. I'm like, are there phones in their pocket?
I think they threw it down on the lounger they were on. And even, like, the tension between Tay and his mom, there are so many things about his mom that you can assume. You can assume that his mom works really hard, because we don't ever see or hear any mention of a father.
He died.
Yeah. So, like, okay, well, then there you go. He's dead. So his mother, like, runs a restaurant. She's putting 2 boys through school. And you can see, like, for her, she's always been super proud of her boys. And she tells everyone in the neighborhood about how smart her boys are, and, you know, is really into the achievements of her boys. They are her pride. And I think sometimes when you're the child of parents who expect a lot from you, it defines who you are as a person, whether you are battling against their expectations of greatness for you or you're battling to meet their expectations of greatness for you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that expectation of, I don't want to let my mom down because she's so hardworking and she's so proud of us. And I want to continue to make her proud of us. In so many ways, it manifests itself into this great misunderstanding. And especially with Tay not believing that he could be out and his mother still be proud of him.
Oh my God, the scene with the brother was so, the brother actually gave him very good advice. So basically, Tay comes out to his brother first. I mean, his brother just kind of guesses, but like, he guesses correctly, and Tay's like, yeah, but he's like, I don't think I'm allowed to do this. Like, I don't think I shouldn't be allowed to act on these feelings. Like, is this okay? And his brother's like, first of all, yeah. Second of all, even if mom doesn't, he's like, if mom accepts you right away, great, you're a lucky man. And if she doesn't, you just got to give her time to come around. And that's the reality of it, because that's probably what's going to happen. But you know what I can see? I hope season 2, she runs like the fag cafe. Like, she's like, rainbow on the wall. She's like, everyone's welcome. And all the local gays know that this is Mrs. Whatever's shop and that she'll take care of you.
Yeah, like, I like the fact that his brother said, she may not accept it, and you may just have to give her time. Mm-hmm. But she also won't be happy if you're miserable.
Right.
And I think that she showed that right after that conversation when he's getting ready to take his entrance exam, and he tells his mom, he's like, Mom, could you reopen the restaurant? And immediately she's like, boy, do you have time? I will make you a whole bowl of noodles right now. Mm-hmm. Like, she really does embrace him. And I think that sometimes, side tangent, I think that's sometimes something that kids don't always get. Like, there are times when I know that I haven't done the best to communicate with my child that, like, your dreams are my dreams and I just want the best for you. But that's because sometimes also along with being a parent is this constant fear that your child's going to get hurt out there. And so you're always thinking, like, I really want the best for you, but I don't want you to pursue something that's going to hurt you later on. And so it was really nice, like, even when he turned down the school and she was so mad, I don't think she was mad. She was mad because it was a stupid thing to do, but I don't think she was like, I'll never forgive you mad. She's like, I'm pissed off right now, but we're going to regroup. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to support you. Put your left foot forward, keep on going. And even when he got his exam results, when he got into a school, she's like, hey, you got into a school. You did it, son. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, I feel bad because you told everybody I got into this other school. She's like, so? You got into school. Mm-hmm. And that really is all you want. I just want you to be successful. Whatever success means for you, I just want you to feel like you are successful.
That scene where after he told his mom and his mom was like hysterical that he returned it, and he goes upstairs, he flops on his bed crying, and he looks over and his mom bought him a college school uniform and wrote in like bold letters, like, I'm so proud of you, here's a gift. Just.
Yeah.
That was like, I didn't see that coming, and it was like a nail in the coffin. It was like, ooh, show.
Yeah, like, I'm really fucked up.
I'm already hurting. Y'all are sick of it.
Yeah, you really fucked up here because, like, she really legit. How many moms would be excited about the idea of their son wanting to go to college to become an actor?
Right.
So, I mean, already, whether you know it or not, she is actually supporting your dreams.
Right.
And so, like, it was never about the fact that you turned down the scholarship and the admittance and I'm embarrassed because of my friends. I'm upset because you were this close to doing the thing you always wanted to do. And I'm proud that you pursued your dream like this. And I'm so scared for you that you won't get this next opportunity. And right. So, I don't know, I just really appreciated that. And I loved his brother's support. It was very interesting watching his brother through the show because his brother seemed very standoffish initially. and like he wasn't really paying attention, or he wasn't really as close with his brother. But then like the brother kind of breaking up the family feud when the mom finds out that he rejected the scholarship, the brother leaving him the bank book, and then the brother still being like, here, you take the bank book. But finally when his brother like, you know, gives him the, you know, it's going to be okay thing, it's like, again, sometimes you don't understand people and the way they show their love. And it kind of really made me see like, it wasn't necessarily that the brother wasn't caring or that the brother didn't engage. It's more like he's just one of those people that he's just not super open, or he's maybe just a more stoic type of a person, but that there's still a very deep well of affection there. And he is very much cognizant of what's going on in his younger brother's life.
Yeah, he's super observant. He has really nice acts of love. They're just not verbal, you know?
Right. And that's gorgeous, because Tay is very much the same way, except he's more outwardly sensitive. But like acts of love, showing up to your school with a suitcase full of books for you to study, making study guides for you, making flashcards for you. Like Tay is very much a, I can't say it, but here, have this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, sorry, one final nail in the coffin I want to talk about is,
Okay.
sorry, that whole, like, the end of episode 4, like, will forever be ingrained in my mind, but, so you see the, what's it called? The uniform, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go study. He opens up his textbook, it's all cut up. He gave it to K, or to O, and you're just like, fuck. Like,
yeah.
what the hell are we gonna do now? Like, shit.
I mean, I looked at that and I'm like, you stupid kid. Because first of all, I grew up under a very strict library system where I wasn't allowed to write in books, much less cut up books. So the idea of cutting a book to shreds in order to make flashcards feels like blasphemy to me. But also it's just like, okay, buy another book, like go to the library, rent a book. Like, you can't just sit here and pick up something else. Go to the next thing. Please don't just sit here and look at this cut up book and start crying.
I don't know. I could see why he would be like, all right, there's too many bad things. I need to take it out for the day and like come back tomorrow.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just like, ugh, you dummy, you stupid. You estupido. Idioso. I hate you.
So when they all find out that Tay didn't get in, like no one's really talked to him for a while, and O goes to see him, but kind of chickens out and like leaves because he says, I don't want to see him sad. Which you're like, okay, so he still has feelings for him. And then we get to the last episode, and the two go running to the tip of this. Was it like a religious thing? I didn't quite understand that. I wonder if there's
so I guess he had made a promise at the temple that if he got into school, he would make this trek from the restaurant to the tip of the cape to see the sunset.
Okay.
And so that was him fulfilling his promise. Because remember, he's like, can I take off my dress shoes because my feet hurt? I'm still gonna run, but I gotta take off these shoes.
Yeah. With a backpack full of coconuts and books.
I was gonna ask, like, are coconuts lighter than I think they are? Because that feels like he loaded his backpack full of boulders.
Yeah, I was like, hey, you asshole. He's like, I'm trying to be nice. It's another one. It's him being naive again. He's like, I'm trying to do the right thing. Have some coconuts. It's like, I don't want this. But basically they get to the Cape. They make it before sunset, and it is sunset now. And Tay is like crying. He's like, I don't know. I'm friends with Bass again. We're not dating anymore. I don't know what you want. I just want to be in your life. No matter what, I'll be your enemy. I'll be your rival. I just want to be in your life. And Tay finally goes, well, if you're going to be in my life, how about you be my boyfriend? And they hug at sunset, and the credits roll, and bliss. And then, like, a second after the credits start, they're like, by the way, here's a little teaser for season 2. And you're like, hey, on again.
I thought it was an interesting metaphor that when they first got to the entrance to the tip of the cape, the clouds were blurring the sun. So they thought they had missed sunset. And Tay goes, didn't you say the tip of the cape? Let's go a little bit further. And the further they go, the more the sun is showing, and they actually do see the sunset when they get there. And I think that that was a really cool metaphor for like, you may think it's over, but just keep going. You may get a surprise at the end.
Right.
And I love that. I love that. I also love the fact that when O starts running, at first he's kind of like, what are you doing here? But he doesn't reject him or stop what he's doing. And as they're running, kind of that old companionship starts to come back. But because he's been hurt so many times, by the time they get to the end, all that kind of companion fun energy starts to dissipate, and the reality of like where we actually are in our relationship starts to come to the forefront. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend like I don't ever want anything to do with you, and I can't go on just hoping that you'll like me. I have to live in this crazy, weird purgatory space with you, but I'd rather be in this kind of purgatory space than to give you up completely, because that's not an option. Because even if you're not there, I'm still thinking of you. Even when I'm with the best case scenario, it's not the same. It's not good enough. It's not fulfilling. What's fulfilling is being by your side in whatever capacity that is. And it's just like, I love the fact that you didn't just throw it away. You didn't throw away the uncertainty. You didn't throw away the anger. You didn't throw away the confusion. You laid it all out there. And too many stories don't. Too many stories are looking for wrapping up the ending, but not making it clear that there's still things there that hurt, and there's still things there that are pain points.
And they're going to have to work through them. And I'm excited for part 2. Do we know
Me
if
too.
it's like a full season? Is it just like another episode? Like,
I think it's a whole other season.
Okay. I'm ready, but I'm nervous it'll end sad.
Are you going to try to watch it in real time, or are you going to wait for it to finish and then watch it in one big gulp?
I don't know. I think I should watch it in real time, because it was a lot watching this in one big gulp. Like, you know, because
these are long episodes. These are like almost an hour and a half each. Yeah. These are movies. Each episode is a movie.
And they look like a movie too. Man, there's a couple shots in this show where I'm like, I don't know who organized this shot, but give them a raise. Like, there's one shot in, I think, episode 1 or 2 where it's O in the foreground, and he's kind of, oh my God, I should have drawn it out for this. He's sitting in the foreground, and I guess he's facing like this way. And then Tay comes and he sits, but he's angled this way. So angle-wise, him and like, your eye goes from O to, your eye is being led to O because of the way Tay is sitting. But they keep turning back and forth to each other. And just like the way even everyone in the background was sitting, and like with the way that their legs were crossing, was leading your eye in a circle around O and Tay, which is a really good, so it was a really good composition. That way it also followed the rule of thirds, which is like, there's basically, if you draw 2 lines this way, 2 lines this way, it's called the rule of thirds. So split up into 3. So 9 little squares on like a movie screen, and there's points. It's basically like here, 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 and here are the best points for the focal point of a composition. And O's head was here, and Tay's head was here. We had optimal rule of thirds coming out. It was just like chef's kiss. Hit the nail on the head with some of these compositions. Sorry if none of that made sense.
No, I mean, I wasn't able to follow it, but that's because I'm ignorant. But I will say, like, for me, as an ignorant person, there were moments where, like, the lighting of scenes and the color choices made me feel away. Like, one of the best parts of the hammock scene to me is that everything was covered in dusk, and the only color that actually stood out was the color of the flower.
Yep.
Like, even in dusk, its red stood out alone.
Yeah.
And I love that because it very much spoke to where they were emotionally in that moment. Like, even though everything else is kind of muted, kind of in the dark, not necessarily clear, what is clear is that this love and this passion is present. And I love the choices that they made. I love the way that the two main characters had their own colors. And there were times where Tay would wear a mix of their colors, or where O would be a wash in Tay's colors. There's just so much to love here. I love the way that they used colors to put them in certain places in scenery. Like, whenever they would be around their friends, if you needed to make sure your eyes stayed on the main character, they always made sure that the friends group stayed kind of in white or pale colors, and that the lead would always be in something super vibrant. I even love the way that they did the colors for Bass.
Yes.
Bass mostly wore white, but when he wore color, it was always like a washed out version of Tay's color, almost like he's a pale imitation of Tay for O. And I was like,
So
yeah.
I think it's time to talk about Bass and Tarn, because they're low-key the casualties of the story. Pour one out for them both, as Sam said earlier. Both of them need a hug. Both of them deserve better.
Both of them deserve the best dick ever. Get it.
So Bass is part of the friend group that Tay and O are in, and he's the one that O originally says that he likes and kind of starts to pursue. And you get the feeling, definitely, that Bass is going to reciprocate. Like, he never said it. He says it fully at the end in the last fourth or fifth episode.
Fifth episode.
Yeah. He's like, he gets in front of the class and is like, by the way, oh, I really like you. I would like to go on a date. And so they kind of start dating, and you're like, you know, Bass is really nice. He is always there to talk to O. Like, he went, like, there was a period where O, like, didn't go to school for a week or something, and Bass went to visit him on his family's resort. Was like, are you okay? Is it about Tay? Like, do you need to talk? Like, I'll be here for you. There's even a moment in, I think, the first episode where Bass is driving him home, and O says, I don't want to go home yet. And they just kind of sit in the car, and they just kind of take a breath, take a moment. Like, he was always there for O. He was always nice to him. He always treated him nicely. And even when O was like, yeah, I'm very sorry, but I'm not over Tay, Bass was like, okay, here we are at his house. Like, you should go talk to him, you know? And when O couldn't do it, Bass gives him a big hug and supports him because he's a good person. And just...
He loves him, like, legitimately loves him.
He needs to get good dick. He deserves.
Yeah.
I hope part 2 brings him that.
I hope so too. Like, that's the thing about love. I mean, love can be very selfish and being like, I want you happy, but I want you happy with me. But, like, the kind of love that Bass has for O is, like, I really don't care who you end up with as long as you're happy. And one thing that, like, solidified in my mind, Bass deserves the world, is when they were walking down the street talking about celebrating Chinese New Year's, and he grabbed O's hand, and O's like, aren't you embarrassed? He's like, why? Why would I be embarrassed? And it's like, poor O, as much as he is like, I am out, he still has a lot of like, but I'm used to being hid. I'm used to not really being all the way out. And Bass is like, no, like, I like you. I told everybody in class I like you. I like you. So why wouldn't I hold your hand? And it's just, best boy. And you always knew that he liked him. You always knew, like, the car trips home, just the way he looked at him. They had a scene where they were in the bed together at the resort. And you could tell that Bass was like, I'm waiting for you to lean in. This is the moment that we connect. I'm waiting for it. And the fact that O doesn't do it, you could tell that Bass was like, I don't understand. I'm pretty sure that it's someone else, but I just don't understand why we can't cross that bridge together.
Right. Well, because Bass had basically asked him on a date. He was like, hey, can we hang out after Chinese New Year?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you and I. And then
Yeah.
O goes, sure, I'll invite the other ones. And Bass is like, okay, that's fine. More the merrier.
Yeah, like whatever. But like when they're sharing the room together, he was expecting it was gonna be something, and it just didn't come out that way. And I don't know. I feel for Bass because he was never as petty or immature as Tay. There were so many times when he could have been petty and he could have been an asshole. Like when they first met, he had like one point higher than Tay on the Chinese exam. And he could have been like, yeah, because I'm a fucking genius and I do shit like that. But he never was that way. He was always just a good guy. And that's why it's heartbreaking to see his heart broken. Because even when he takes O to go see Tay, O didn't know that that's where they were headed. He had no idea. And when the restaurant is closed and he turns around, Bass, even if they're crying, is like, if you want me to bring you back here tomorrow, I'll bring you back here. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not even throwing away the possibility of being around you after this. I'm still, even though you're breaking my heart tonight, I'll still do this again and again and again because I love you. Mm-hmm. And that's just...
It's so sweet. You love to see it for him.
Yeah, you do.
And I love that the friends were very receptive too. Like there was that very worrying text message that Kai sent, like, hey, O took this picture and put it on Instagram, like kind of what's going on? And you're like, are they gonna be homophobic? But they were just kind of like, okay, whatever. That's fine. Yeah. Y'all are fucking? Okay.
Yeah, like the friends were never the way you expect drama on Instagram to go down. Like you would have thought that this picture would have gone on there and then it would have been like, what's going on? Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did this, that kind of stuff. No, they kept it in their group chat and were like, hey, I caught this before he took it down. Is he all right? Do we need to go talk to him? And I'm like, y'all are real friends. Y'all are real friends. Yeah. And that was beautiful to see. When Tay gave up the scholarship and they were all trying to get in contact with him and talk to him, like, I don't know, we talk a lot about how sometimes our favorite aspects of boys love have been when they've had really strong friend groups. This was one of those times where it was very interesting how the friend group was not always as present as we've seen in other stories, yet and still they were super strong in the fact that they kind of built this wall of support without maybe being cared for individually as characters.
Right.
And I found that to be a really cool way of doing this. This is the first boys love I think I've watched that's been completely focused on one couple the entire way. Like, yes, there were kind of these side options, but there was no like second couple for you to divert from the main couple or anything like that. And the friends themselves also, in kind of keeping your focus on the main characters, they were very much muted. Like they exist, but they kind of exist to set an environment around these two people. And I just thought it was really beautifully done.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. So, Tarn, we get to her.
Oh my gosh. Girl.
Ooh, girl.
It's cool. You're headed to art school. You'll need the story of how you fell in love with your gay best friend.
Yeah. Well, she was like they were like clearly very compatible. Like they had fun conversations in the first episode. And she was kind of like, I don't know if I want to date right now, but maybe. And then she kind of keeps inviting him to things, like drawing at the beach, which, okay, nitpick, very confusing for me as an artist. No one draws at the beach like that. But okay, just
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was very weird that she's like, we're gonna draw on the rocks at the beach. It's like no one does that.
I don't know what they were drawing. Maybe they were drawing the cape, or I don't know.
Like there was no sky, like there was no like city skyline for them to draw. She's also going into architecture, so why didn't they ever have her sitting in like at a cafe drawing the buildings around her? I don't know. Nitpick. But basically she makes a move on him. They start kissing while she's drawing, and he kind of after that starts avoiding her a little bit because he's more into O, and they're sitting in the grass at her yard, and she drew a flower, the same flower. Is it a hibiscus?
I think it's a hyacinth. Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know. I've never heard
I
of
don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not a flower person. Sue me.
the same flower that Tay and O put in each other's ear when in O's confession scene, and she drew, and she was like, "Hey, can you pick a color to color it in?" And she was wearing a bra that had that flower in purple, and she was like, "If he likes me, he'll pick purple because he noticed the bra, like subconsciously." And the purple and the red are right next to each other, and he picks the red and he starts scribbling it in, and she flips because she's like, fuck this guy, God, he's dense as shit, you know. They kind of end it there, and then later poor Tarn, she gets drawn out at like 4 a.m, and Tay is like, do you love me, like say it, do you love me? And she's like, yes, I love you. And she's like, can you say it back? And he just like stares at her. And she's like, bitch, it's 4 a.m. You dragged me out here just for me to tell you that I love you and only for you to not say it back. Fuck you. And she like goes back inside.
As she should. As she should.
Oh man. They eventually patch things up. She comes over and is like, hey, like, I'll always be let's stay friends, even though she's clearly like sad. But she does bring him a drawing of him as the hero from the show that he is so inspired by.
Yeah. Which I don't think she came over there saying, let's be friends.
No, because she was crying. She was like, hey, we good? And he was like, oh, I'm going to go suck a dick, but like, I'll be your friend. And she was like,
great, friends, and I'm peeing out of my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody brought up on Twitter that the flower on the drawing was and I think it is the hibiscus. Guys, I'm sorry if I've been saying hyacinth and it's hibiscus, I apologize. But the flower is that hibiscus flower, but the flower that she put in the pocket on the drawing is purple.
Yes. Nice.
Because I think she had anticipated that perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which he'll never know. He'll never notice that.
Oh no, because he's an idiot.
Take the drawing and it'll be up in his dorm room, you know.
Yeah, he's an idiot, so he'll never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I loved her because like she did the smart thing by instead of confessing to him right away, she's like, tell me what you were gonna say to me first before I jump out the window here. And so I'm like, I get it, girl. Protect yourself, protect your heart. But yeah, I was really glad that like they had a chance to resolve that completely, and that, you know, it was friendship. I would have understood if she had done the same thing that O did and being like, I can't be your friend. But I think maybe she understood in that moment, like, this is not a time where I can be petty or be spiteful, because I don't think that he could survive this at this moment. Because things have got so far down. So, yeah. I don't know. I love the side characters. I love the moms. I love the mom and dad couple. I love everybody. Even the teacher that they had for Chinese language class was really cool. Like, everybody really, it was the best environment you could ask for a story like this.
Yeah. It was great. just everything about the show is good. I love all the
Yeah.
sets, the colors.
The music was even good. Like there was one scene where Tay was pacing around because he was trying to make a decision to do something, and there was this really frenetic jazz music playing in the background.
Yeah, the music was so good.
Yeah, like every element of this show was amazing. And there were merch in this show that was like clearly disguised to not interrupt the show, but was very much there. Like the heart attack bag, the sunset t-shirt, the other blue, like darker blue t-shirt with like white writing that Tay has. And then there's like a set of couples dolls that are shown very briefly. But like whoever made this was like, we get that we need the sponsorships, but we can't let it disrupt the storyline here. So they did it in a super classy way. And it just made it to where this felt like auteur cinema rather than A Boy's Love on network television.
They definitely felt like they watched a lot of like independent movies, and they watched Call Me by Your Name, and they were like, let's do that, but less.
But better. But better, because Calling by Your Name has some moments and some things in it that Stephanie's told me about that make me feel like I don't know if I'll be happy about it. But I didn't feel any problematic relationship elements in this.
This channel will not be smearing Call Me by Your Name. I am a Call Me by Your Name stan account, so I do not support.
I'm just gonna say, you attacked me early on in this vlog, so I'm just returning that energy to you.
I didn't attack you, I just pointed out that.
Closing the metaphor.
But yes, it was very, like, the pacing was slow. I honestly didn't realize this was a Thai show at first. For some reason, I thought this was a Japanese show. Because the way people talked about it online, I'm like, well, we haven't had a Thai show that's, like, super quiet and honest and is, has, like, really gorgeous cinematography. Even the clips Sam showed me, there was no speaking. So I just thought this was, like, a Japanese show. Because I was like, Thailand's never done anything like this. No one, when it started and they were speaking in Thai, I was like, oh. And then I was like, the bar has been fucking raised, Thailand. Like, meet it. The bar is here now. You did it.
Yeah, at least jump, bitch. Don't stay on the ground. Leap.
I cannot believe this was airing the same time Love by Chance Season 2 was airing. It's like, you have the bars, the one that is under the ground, and then I Told Sunset About You.
Thank you so much for that segue. So before we move on to that, a strong 9.5, if not a 10.
I'm going 9.5.
Yeah, a strong 9.5. That it is good. It would take something phenomenal to beat this year. It might even take something phenomenal to beat this in the next 2 years.
Nothing will.
This is the show of the year. I said it at the beginning. I'll say it again. This is the show of the year.
Yes. I'm going to give Best Comedy to My Engineer, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's definitely things that came out this year that were great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shading anybody and saying that you can't. No. This is just different. This almost exists in a different universe.
Yeah.
It does not feel like BL. This just feels like a gay drama.
Yeah. It shocked me how good it was.
Yeah.
So solid, amazing show.
Yeah. Not enough superlatives. I mean, I feel like the Lady Gaga meme.
Yeah. This beautiful, amazing, stupendous, perfect. I hope for season 2 we can be that what is it, the Michelle Obama meme where she's like, girl, you have done it again. Constantly raising the bar for us all. I'm hoping for season 2.
Yes. Oh, don't do us wrong in season 2. Please don't. Please don't. But yeah, this was an incredible experience. I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to watch this show the way that I did, because I got to watch it in real time. So I got to see the community reaction and the community involvement, and it was also a really strong contrast to the conversation that has been had about so many other boys' loves airing in the same set of time. Like, you have Tharn Type that just started 3 weeks ago that's been airing during the same period of time.
Mm-hmm.
You have Gaia Caligula that's airing. It just finished this week. You have A Chance to Love that just finished this week. So you have all these different boys love on top of boys love on top of boys loves all airing at the same time. And each of them have their own tones of discussion. When you went to look up I Told You About Sunset, it was like being a part of like the AP classroom at high school. Like, it's only the smart kids, only the it's like, it's A tier. It's not the dumb kids who talk about recess. It's about the kids who are like, I was watching a film last night. Like, it's that type of conversation.
It was
just
cinema, darling.
pretty much like, oh, those plebeians watching Tharn type.
Fur coat, cigarette, a glass of wine, like,
I remember when I was young.
I dated in front of my brother.
Yeah, it was that kind of a thing. And it just, there were so many people, I'm like, I should probably follow them on Twitter now. Because there were so many people having intelligent conversation about cinematography and art and color theory and all these other things. It just felt different. Whereas when you would look at the Chance to Love Twitter discussion, it was like, oh my gosh, I read that scene in the book and they did it in the show. Like, just the kids' table and the adults' table. Totally a different thing. So, I mean,
sorry.
Everything around the show has been perfect. Everything around the show has been perfect. The edits that people have done for this, for like fan-made videos, have been excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. And I want to say this now, PP Crit has been added to my bubble of boys love actors that I will love forever unless they truly fuck it up.
Is that the one that plays O?
Yes. We don't talk about it enough, but some people just are their character. And I'm not saying this based on seeing him in other stuff, but like, there was no time when I was watching this that I felt like he was acting. And I know he was acting, and he's doing a damn good job acting, but like, there are things about the way he held his arms and the way he held his shoulders, and I don't know, I just felt like O was a real person who I needed to protect at all costs. And O was like a person that I wanted to be like, this world is going to hurt you. Can I please wrap a blanket around you so that you don't get cut up on all these corners and sharp things? And PP Crit, he is a different personality, like as a person, an actual person. But those are the moments in media that mean the most to me. When I'm so into your character that I'm like, it doesn't matter what you do in life, I will always love you. Because you played the shit out of that one right there. And so, like, I adore him. I did not feel the same way about Tay, but that's also because I found Tay very disturbing to look at many different times.
I am the opposite. Kind of. I love O. I thought he did a great, the actor that played him, PP Crit, you said his name was?
Yeah.
He's great. He's really talented, good-looking guy. Like him a lot. I think I like Tay more because I saw myself more in Tay, the bad and the good. And so I'm like, okay, I see myself more in this character. I also think the actor's really cute, so I vibe with him a lot more, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they both brought something different.
Yeah.
Tay was there were just times when Tay would smile where I don't know, I guess because he has so much tension in his face that I always felt a little bit uncomfortable around Tay. But I mean, that's his character. So he played the shit out of his character. But yeah, I adore PP Crit, and I want to see all the best things happen for him. Like, I am a person that does not like it when people sing in dramas. I do not like it. It makes me uncomfortable. Get that shit out of here. When they were singing at the Cape to each other, I didn't feel that way. And that's a milestone for me because I don't like that shit. I don't know why people love La La Land. La La Land felt very uncomfortable to me. But it's just because I I don't like singing in that way, even though it's weird. I really like old Hollywood musicals. I'm a woman of contrast. But yeah.
Well, I feel like La La Land and a general like boys love singing in a show has a very different vibe than old Hollywood campy musical, you know?
Yeah.
It's like Mew singing to Gulf in Tharntype is very different than singing in the rain. You know? It's just not the same.
Yeah.
Because
So,
I love
I mean,
musicals, but I hate, first of all, if anyone were to ever sing at me, I'm breaking up with you. Like, how uncomfortable. I don't even like being sung happy birthday to, but like singing in a drama, I'm like, oh, this is so weird.
yeah.
If it's not a musical and they just pause to have a singing, no.
Yeah. But I think what made this different too is the fact that like he was giving him the translation of the song. So it didn't feel awkward. It felt like it belonged in the narrative and it moved the narrative forward and everything.
You know what
Okay.
I would love to see a fan video for is one for Ariana Grande's, honestly, anything on the Thank You Next album. Needy, how does it feel to be needed? Oh my God, that fits the show. Imagine a world like that. Imagine my head on your neck. Like, it's a good idea.
I'm telling you, like, I honestly, when Bass confessed to O in the classroom, Ariana Grande's The Bridge from You'll Never Know started playing in my mind. It's not my fault, you're a little bit too late.
Yeah.
I like.
Oh man, when they were rubbing on each other, I kept thinking of Can You Stay Up All Night? Fuck me till the daylight. She's got a song for everything, apparently.
Yes. I mean, there is so much. Ariana Grande, get your coin. But yeah, if you ever hear the song Heather, somebody did a fan edit of the song Heather with the scene of O in the bra in front of the mirror.
I'll check it out.
The lyrics and the scene match up very well together. I highly recommend, and I'll pass that on to Mason later on.
Yeah, I want to see it.
So I think we're done with I told you about Sunset in terms of what we're going to discuss in the vlog. Now, let's do a little housekeeping here and talk to you guys about why it is we're not going to be reviewing A Chance to Love, the second season of Love by Chance.
Purely and honestly, it's a waste of time. It's not good. Neither of us enjoyed watching it. It would just be an hour of us being unhappy. And not even like I understand that it's fun to watch people like be upset about like a product, you know, and like rant about it. But I feel like the ones that are best are ones that you're like passionate about. Like if a Star Wars fan is like, oh, I hated the last movie, here's why I didn't like it. Like that's fun because they love the franchise. Whereas like I hate Love by Chance too. I don't have any interest in talking about it. I don't think Sam does either. And it's not worth it. Mame doesn't deserve her characters on our lips at this point. Plus, there's been some fucked up shit with Kuhart, and The Boy Deserves Better because his co-stars are, honestly, it's borderline homophobic what they're doing to him. It's really uncomfortable. I do not like it. They're playing fuck with the fag, and it's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, my decision was made as soon as I saw the thread of behavior against Kuhart. I was like, okay, I will not be talking about this show. I won't shine any more attention on this show because there's a lot of things that are wrong here. And I'm going to run it down because I feel like at the very least, I do owe it to you guys to give you kind of what you would have heard if we had done a review, but not give it a whole hour. Mean and Plan are terrible actors. How do you get worse from season to season? How do you get to be a worse actor in the second season than you were in the first season? The storyline made little to no sense. They retconned a storyline that didn't need to be retconned. I don't know why the fuck Perth came back to be A when he spent the entire season from front to last minute pouting about the fact that him and Pete weren't together. I don't understand why they introduced that email from Pete to Tin saying to take care of when they never interacted in the show ever about anything. I don't understand the reason why they even showed us Tar talking to Tum if he had no parts in the show and it was literally just two conversations. He's outie. They brought back Samantha for no fucking reason, and Sammy deserves better. Yacht's character didn't add a single fucking thing. I miss his girlfriend. Where the fuck is she? Tull and Hen, their storyline would have been cool if we actually got to see any of it. Giving us a bunch of reuniting kisses and shit like that in the last 2 episodes doesn't make up for the fact that we didn't get really anything about their history other than a little hallway confrontation. And if you read the books, you know their relationship is fucked up as shit. And so why should I even fucking care about them? This show was trash. You got more money and you didn't spend it. And that's why it's fuck you all day long. Director knew. I felt like you could have done better, but now I'm really beginning to think that maybe you actually don't have the capability of doing better because this was bullshit. And I just want to say, anybody who watched A Chance to Love and got even semi-hard watching the love scenes between Mean and Plan, you obviously have never watched porn, you have never had sex, and shame on you for trying to go ahead and proselytize that this is the epitome of love between men, when this is the epitome of men who are extremely uncomfortable with homosexuality. And that's all it is. Those awkward closed mouth kisses and aggressive cutaways to the ceiling are all proof that these are two people that are no homoing their way through an entire boys love series. Fuck out of here. Eat my ass.
So we won't be reviewing season. That was an amazing rant. Honestly, top 5 of Samantha's rants. You just got twisting the knife. It was like, ooh, damn.
It is. It's fucking horrible.
No,
like,
yeah.
By the time the show ended, I felt like their sponsorship fell through. Everything that I told you about Sunset is A Chance to Love is the polar opposite in every fucking way. There's not a single place where they exist on the same planet. Not a single place. And that's why I say the kids table versus the adults table. People who've never seen a set of genitals other than their own in their entire life versus people who get it on the reg. So, yeah.
So, not next week, the week after. The next episode we will be reviewing Gaya Sa Pelikula, which is a Filipino boys love. And Sam's already seen it. I have not. She says it's good. I'm excited. It'll be good.
I enjoy it. So I don't want to give too much of it away before we review it though. So I'm not gonna say too much, but I enjoy it. So I'm gonna do my Instagrams of the day because I'm contractually obligated to at least fill some role on this show other than ranting. So
you talk more than I do.
So the Instagrams of the day, they're very obvious. The Instagrams of the day are for Billiken and PP Crit. So Billiken's Instagram is BBILLKIN, and he is the actor who played Tae. His Instagram right now is very promotional because he's getting a lot of like commercial requests and things like that. So sit with it for a minute, but they're all good pictures, so I think you'll enjoy his Instagram. It'll get back to normal soon. And then for PP Crit, his Instagram is the letter P, a period, and then Crit is spelled Kritt. Again, a lot of promo shoots, commercials, stuff like that, and then a couple like behind the scenes types of things. But he looks like he's a ton of fun. And then this is a bonus, and I only picked this because I found it to be pleasing, and I thought other people might want to add it on as well. The Instagram is Boss Kuno, BOSSKUNO. He is the director of this show. He's got a lot of really beautiful still shots of the production on his Instagram, which is why I recommend his Instagram if you'd like to look at some of the compositional scenes a little bit without having to watch them in movement, I guess. And I don't know, I really am excited to see what he will be like in future projects. He directed My Ambulance, which had a sad ending. He directed another show called I think it was called TGBL. And it was a show, it was a series of 4 episodes, each episode centering on a person with a different identity. So the first one, the T, was transgendered. The second one was B, bisexual, G for gay, L for lesbian. And from the reviews I've seen from that show, it wasn't great. Wasn't great. But he is a college communications art graduate that has a theater background, and a lot of theater takes itself way too seriously and feels like it can't be serious theater if it ends happy. And I think as he's working in television and working in film, he's getting a lot of feedback that, bitch, this ain't theater. People want to see a happy ending. Bring it. And so I'm excited to see what his next projects are going to be. I really am, because this was gorgeous. This was amazing. And if he can keep this up, it's at least into season 2, I'd be more than excited to support him moving forward. So those are my Instagrams.
Well, I don't have a manga of the week. I guess that wraps it up. Sam, if you ever doubt your place in the show again, I will have to yell at you. Never speak ill of yourself. Makes me sad. So with that, bye.